What's up, guys? I'm Luke, and you are watching The Creative Way. So today, we are going to be continuing our Scratch Basics series, and it is part 3. Now, this is going to be the Vector and Bitmap editors, and we're going to be exploring both of them, and so that way you guys can decide what editor you think is best and what editor you want to use for your project. So, we'll choose a costume here. Actually, you know what? These costumes are boring. So, I think I'm just going to paint my own costume. And I'll delete these cat costumes. That's boring. So, I'll name this Vector because we're doing the Vector editor on this one. And I'll name this Bitmap. I'll convert this one to Bitmap. And this one's in Vector. So, we are going to make a sprite trying to make the costumes as similar as possible with using the different ones. So we'll start with the square/rectangle tool, and we'll do I don't know. Let's do that. That's a nice color like that. Yeah. Should we do an outline too? Yeah, let's do an outline. Okay. So if you hold down the shift, I forgot one thing. I'll make this 10. So if you hold down the shift, it automatically makes a perfect square for you, no matter what. This is great if you want to do like a platformer or something where you're having a square as your sprite. So if we do this, we've made a little square here. It's very nice. Now we'll do the same thing in here, except we can make the same thing in here, but we have to change this every time we want to make a new thing. So they look very similar right now, except I had to use one outlined and one filled for the bitmap, and in the vector, I could do a fill and an outline at the same time, which is very nice. Let's use the circle tool. Oh, let's do a gradient circle. Oh, those are so much fun. Okay, we'll do red, and we'll do green. Yeah, let's do green. Oh, we don't need an outline on this, so we can just click the transparent. All right, and if we hold down the shift key, there we go, just like that. And as you can see, I'm centering everything because I just think it looks better. That little X, I think I've showed you that before. We have our little square here, and let's do a circle, and we'll do the same gradient. So we'll do the green as well. That's pretty close. And we want this filled. So as you can see, there's still not a big difference. If we go back and forth between them, there's only minor differences. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's use the line tool. And let's make... Yeah, actually, let's go from right here, and we'll want to do a 10 thickness, because I just think it's good that way. And we'll make it right there. And then we'll make the same thing going back across, because I like symmetrical patterns. Okay, that's actually looking really cool. Oh, I forgot to show you one thing with this line tool. If you hold down shift, it automatically makes you a straight line no matter what in the different directions you could go with it. Okay, so for this, even if you hold down shift, you still get the same line, and you can't control where it's going. It's not going to be perfectly straight for you. Now we'll do the same thing here. And again, you can only see minor differences, like the size varies a little bit. But as you can see in the editor, the vector one is much, much clearer and actually much better in my opinion. The next tool is the text tool. This is really sets the difference apart. I'm going to be using white just so I can show you. I'll do CW. for Creative Way. And as you can see, I can edit text and I can click away and I can move it around and then I can edit it again. I can do Luke, I can do CW, I can do whatever I want and still move it around and stuff. So I'll put that right in the center and it looks very nice. When we use the text tool over here, however, we do CW, just like that. It almost looks the exact same, except when you click away, it becomes part of your project and you can't edit the text again. So the next thing we're going to be doing is exploring the fill tool. I really like both of these fill tools, but especially the vector fill tool because, as you can see, I'm in a gradient mode right now. I can easily move where the light is shining from. So if you're doing something like if you're making a project where there's a sun and there's a light shining from like over here, I can do here. Let's do that. And we'll do that so I can make it a cool gradient for you guys. And as you can see, I'm moving where the light is shining from. And I think the light should be shining from right there. And it automatically kind of blends it in. It's very nice and very clear. And it can do many things. So with this fill tool, if you try to do that here, it does do it. But you can see there's little dots right here. Let me zoom in. There's little dots right here when we did it. And we don't want that. But what's really good about the bitmap editor is if I were to just draw a square like this and then fill it with a color with black. Yeah, so I can easily fill that with color right there. But again, it's more pixelated and it just doesn't look as clean as the vector editor. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys, well, maybe. Paint tool. Let's say I want some more color in there. So I'll do some purple. And I just want to put some dots right here. That's very simple with the vector editor. And I can just put paint wherever I want to. And it just makes little dots and you can increase the size of the paintbrush. And it looks very clean and nice, just like everything else in the vector editor. Now, what if you say I wanted to draw something? You can easily draw something. And what's amazing about it is it smooths it over instantly. Look at that. It makes it very smooth. And then you could select the entire drawing you've done and not have to go through and edit simple things out. So we can do this in the bitmap editor as well, except we cannot select them once we've put them down like we can in the vector editor. All right, so I'm going to show you the reshape tool very simply. It just reshapes it. You can add points. It can be curved. It can be pointed. You can do whatever you want. But it's not available in Bitmap, so it's not fair to compare it. The select tool in Vector is amazing. You can literally do tons of stuff with it. But Bitmap, it's not so good. You select, oh, but I wanted to select the whole thing. Well, now it's gone. Can't do anything about that. You can hit the back arrow, but if you have to select the entire thing to move it around, and you can't move parts around. You can't move the text. You can't move one of these dots, one of the lines, one of the squares, one of the circles. You can't move anything unless you select it like this. If I wanted to move this dot, I'd have to select all the way around it and take it out of the project. So there's only one more thing I have to show you. If you know, oh man, I'm going to mess this up. I've done such good work on this, but I'd hate to mess it up. Click the group button up here in Vector. And whenever you move it, you don't have to select the whole thing. Just whenever you move it, it moves everything. So you don't have to worry about that. And also, one more thing. If, let's say I wanted the circle all the way to the front, it just moves it like that. But what if, let's say I wanted it just enough where the lines would go behind it. That is where the forward and backward things come in, and I think that's super cool. You cannot do that with Bitmap. They both have flip horizontal and flip vertical. It's the exact same thing. But overall, I would say that the vector editor is king here. So remember to save your project, and then when you're playing it, now, if you want this text to turn, if you're using text and you use our left-right style for the cat, because we were turning the cat in part 2 maybe, then you might want to just get rid of this in the left. So it doesn't do anything, it stays the same. That is what I'm going to do because I want the text to stay the same, and since it's a square, we don't need to flip it anymore. One last thing, I'm going to resize this so it's a bit smaller. Maybe about that big. And I'm going to delete the bitmap one because I like vector much, much better. So as you can see, it still works just as well as before. And we've done nothing but just change the costume. I have one exciting announcement. I am doing a collab. I'm not telling you which channel I'm doing a collab with, but I will release the information on that whenever I have it. We're still thinking through some ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go buy my merch. Link in the description box below. And yeah, I think that's it. See you guys. Bye.